Hello, everyone, and welcome to our virtual event, Changing the Face of PR. My name is Deandra Parker, the founder of Pacific Tunes Entertainment, a marketing company for independent artists. I also work at YouTube, and I am an alumni of the lovely Los Angeles Film School. All right, guys, I'm a little nervous, so bear with me, okay? Okay, so today we have some amazing, talented people with us today. But before we get started, I do want to give a shout out to our partners, Better Youth. Better Youth is an organization that validates young people by developing life skills through mentoring and media arts. Media, sorry, hold on one second. By mentor, Better Youth is an organization that's training foster and former foster homeless and low income youth. So shout out to Sid Stewart and John A. Rivers for being our partners in bringing this amazing event to us. We also want to give a huge shout out to Amazon and Skydance, who both worked closely with Better Youth. Through their focus and hands-on mentorship, these amazing organizations are focused on the collective impact of diversifying Hollywood. So let's give them a virtual round of applause. All right, also, if you guys have any questions today, please write them in the chat and I'll be checking it periodically to make sure your questions get heard. Okay, now me introduce our panelists. First, we're going to start with Darren D. Dickerson. Darren D. Dickerson is the founder of DSD Public Consulting, specializing in personal representation, music, television, and film. Dickerson's current and past roster of clients includes eBay, actress Vanessa Bell Callaway, director Benny Boom, TD Jakes and TD Jakes Enterprises, Cedric the Entertainer, Little Mama, BET, TV1, Glenn Turman, TV Land, Sharif Atkins, and Kevin Frazier, to list a few. Since June of 2021, Dickerson has worked with Starz to launch BMF, PowerBook 3, Raising Canaan, and PowerBook 4, Force. Prior to forming DSD Publicity, Dickerson served as Director of New Business Development for Tobin and Associates, the venerable public relations agency founded by industry icon Patricia Pat Tobin, representing clients that include Chandra Wilson from Grey's Anatomy, James Pickens, Kristen Clemson, Toyota Motor Cells, Nestle, Sony Picture Television, Hallmark Channel, Fitzgerald Casino, and the National Newspaper Publishers Association. Dickerson covered a bit of everything as he's working public relations. He also serves as a Better Youth mentor and the chair of Advisory Council. So let's welcome Darren. Hello.
Thank you, you guys. You guys kind of caught me a little bit. I'm transitioning from my office to my house. And so thank you, everyone. I will be on a regular Zoom in like 2 minutes.
Awesome. Well, while you're doing that, let me introduce Tanisha. Tanisha Ty Lewis is a former homeless youth and first generation transfer student, which is so amazing, with a bachelor's in journalism and public relations from California State University of Northridge in 2018. As an African studies minor, she was hired as a student writer for CSUN Marketing and Communications Department, and also served as a publicity intern for Warner Brothers Television in her senior year. Ty's career in PR was actually launched on the red carpet at a Better Youth annual Reel-to-Reel Global Film Festival. For those who remember, it was held at the Los Angeles Film School back in 2016 and 2017. Actually, that was my first event I did when I was a student worker at Los Angeles Film School. So yeah, it's close to my heart. But back to her. It was held at the LA Film School 2016 and 2017. Ty also became the Reel-to-Reel Global Festival social media manager in 2018. Since then, Ty has continued her help launch and develop local professional communities, organizations, including Reel-to-Reel Global, the Empower Her Project, Black Public Relations Society, Los Angeles, and Sisters of LA. Currently, she works as a creative consultant for independent brands and companies such as Warner Media. Please help me welcome Ty.
Hi. Hi, D'Amber. Hello, everyone out there. Hi, Darren. And thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here and to share my story and my insight. Thank you.
Yes, isn't it just a little quick?
And I got to shout out my fellow Matador CSUN alums representing in the building, just so you know.
Thank you.
Isn't it so strange doing events like online? Like I can't see you guys, but I can see you guys. So, perfect. Okay, let's start with some icebreakers. We'll start with Ty. If you had to choose, which album or song would be the soundtrack to your life?
Ooh, this is a very hard question. I consider myself a student of hip hop. I've studied hip hop. It was one of my first loves. I've been in love with hip hop and music my whole life. So that's a very hard question, but I'm going to go with Nipsey Hussle, anything Nipsey Hussle. So I'll just say his last album. I'm a Leo, just like him. So we have that mindset. We're leaders, we're focused, we're hustlers by any means necessary. So like he's on his marathon, I'm on my journey as well. So definitely his music, his albums, his mixtapes. He might have gained more popularity once he passed, but I definitely always supported him and his vision. So I would definitely go with Nipsey Hussle, maybe Hustle and Motivate. And that was a very hard question for me, y'all. I love hip hop. Thank you.
Interesting. I love that album too. Okay, and for Darren, if you had to cast a character to star in your life story, which character would you choose? But you must choose anyone from one of the Starz shows that you worked on.
You know what's so funny is that okay, so if I'm gonna choose somebody from the Starz universe, I guess I'll have to go with that's a toughie. Ghost, you know, just because he's the OG, he started it all.
Is it Omari? His name
Omari, yeah.
I thought you was gonna say 50 Cent.
You know, because you gotta remember though, you said a character. 50 Cent's character was super grimy and shady. So no, I can't be Kanan. You know what I mean? Well, you know what though? Now here's what's interesting, right? And if I really was going to identify with anybody, it would actually probably be Rock, the mom in Power Book 2.
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
Raising Kanan.
Interesting. Those are good answers.
Good questions.
Finish these two.
I mean, if I'm identifying with a character,
okay,
it would definitely be her.
Okay. What about? No, actually, we'll just stick to.
Can I ask the song? Can I answer the album question though? I mean, I'm like, I feel like you know.
You like? I like that question.
Yes, I think you should.
Tupac, Me Against the World.
Okay.
Good answer.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's just me against the world, baby.
Nice. Okay. I like those answers. Okay, so let's finish these sentences, both of you. I represent for whoever wants to go first can go. So the question is, I represent for.
So I'll go ahead and say I represent for those who couldn't, just for the people that don't have these opportunities, or maybe they don't see themselves having these opportunities. So I represent for those people that come, from the bottoms, from the slums, maybe not the best environment. I come from that same environment. I want to show people you deserve to be here in these spaces too. And anything is possible. So I would like to say I represent for those who couldn't. Thank you.
How about you, Darren?
Okay, I'm switching devices. Give me 1 second.
Of course.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Now we're official tissue. Who do I represent for?
Yes.
I represent for I represent for, I think, all of the inner city, a lot of who Ty said she represents for. But, you know, what a lot of people don't know about me is that how I found my way into entertainment. When I decided to make this move, I was actually incarcerated.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to sit here and like I did some long bid or anything, but I was sitting in a cell. After having been in the military for 7 or 8 years, having left Los Angeles to change my life and realized that I had not changed who I was. And so back in Los Angeles in 30 days, I ended up incarcerated, right? Because if you can change your location, but if you don't change your mentality, then you don't really grow, you don't really change. And so I learned that at a very young age. And so, you know, I represent for the people who think that they don't have opportunity. I represent for the people who think that they have done, you know, the things that they've done may exclude them or preclude them from having this type of opportunity.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And again, it goes to show, you know, like you said, it's about the mindset. Just because you come from that does not mean that that's your destiny or that's it for you.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that with me or us, because I had no idea.
Oh, Ty, you didn't know that?
Like, okay, dear.
Yeah, you know, it didn't have a time. It didn't have a title back in the day. I didn't know I was a troubled teen until that term came out. Like, that's what was wrong. I was a troubled youth.
It wasn't what was wrong because it made you who you are. So it was what was right at the time.
Exactly.
And the next thing next sentence I'll have you guys finish is, I'm changing the world by.
Since you went first last time, Ty, I'll jump in first.
Thank you.
You know, honestly, I'm changing the world by giving my time, my talents, and and as much information as I can to foster youth, to underserved youth, to multicultural youth, right? With the emphasis on targeting our African American women and boys, because if there was just a lot of information I know that I didn't have, right? And because of where my mom and family came from, they didn't have it either. And so you just don't know what you don't know. And so I've taken it upon myself to at least be a vehicle, instrument of education and information.
That is a wonderful answer. And mine's very similar. So I would like to say I'm changing the world by, again, representing for those who, you know, don't see themselves doing this. I had a lot of people kind of since childhood doubting me, pushing negativity onto me. And I just knew then as a kid, like, nah, y'all got me twisted. That's not going to be my destiny. But some people do, you know, believe those words. Words are powerful. Our thoughts are powerful. So I had to, as a child, like, no, you know, my future is bright. There's more to life. I knew as a kid, I would be involved with entertainment, hip hop, and, you know, something into the, you know, into that. But I just had a lot of people, again, against me and doubting me, wishing negativity on me. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there dealing with that. So I just, you know, killed it with kindness. And I surround myself with positive energy, positive influences. I listen to positive affirmations. I'm trying to, you know, stay active and just do things I normally wouldn't do or I wasn't taught or programmed to do. So I'm definitely working on me every day. And I basically am changing the world by being an example that I would like to see. So that's why I'm here, to show you guys, you know, again, it's possible. Whatever it is that you want to do, you deserve to be in these spaces and these roles too.
I love that. That is actually something I wish I heard more of when I was a student. So thank you. Okay, let's also jump into some more serious questions. Would either of you like to answer, because we have a lot of new students here, what are some of the avenues you can take with PR? I don't know which one of you wants to answer.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Darren go first.
Well, you know, I'll just share for me, like my journey maybe to PR to give you some kind of idea of the types of things you can do. So, you know, I I always say I probably started out doing PR in high school, right? Because me and my friends, we did parties, and we were those guys in high school. I did stuff for my high school paper. And then, ultimately I started doing, I did like clubs and parties. And so when people think public relations, I think the obvious thing is traditional publicity, where you're, doing press releases and you're interacting with media. But, today PR takes on everything from, you could be a unit publicist, right? Where you're actually working on set, right? And you're working with the talent to communicate back to the studio or the network everything they need to know about the production, and helping them prepare the assets they need to distribute out. You could be a personal publicist. So I did personal publicity for a very long time. Personal publicity is when you work directly with an actor or an executive, or you directly with the client, the person, an individual. I've done contractor PR, where I wasn't an employee of the studio or a network, but I worked alongside the employees of the studio or the network to launch shows, to launch movies, premieres, those types of things. And now you got everything from you can be a virtual publicist, meaning you representing people who only deal in the digital space. So you representing influencers and content creators who just create for digital. And most of the stuff you never actually create hard paper, meaning you just pushing out about digital content and promos. And maybe you're not even going after mainstream traditional media. You're going after more blogs and podcasts. And so now today, PR has a whole different vibe. You know what I mean? There's a lot that you can do beyond traditional, corporate PR.
Yes. Ty, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I agree. Like he said, PR, just like any industry or, music and all these other industries and entities, is always changing. Like he's saying, basically, I graduated in 2018. I'm sure things have changed. Like, I don't want to say drastically, but things have changed since 2018 and it's 2022. So basically how I kind of got into PR, I was always more on the journalism side, writing and, creating articles, wanting to publicize things. So during my time at Pierce College, which is another route you can go. I know some students may go to LA Film School. Some of them might go to, community college. Some might go right to a university. Whatever way or route is, is okay. It's no perfect way. But I pretty much started out at a community college. So I was getting more exposure to PR once I was in that, department. So fast forward, I transferred to CSUN. Again, I was immersing myself. I joined organizations on campus and outside of campus. I belong to nonprofits that pretty much empowered me, like real to real, to do PR. They placed me with a publicist. They gave me opportunities. They were giving me internships, because sometimes as young people of color, it's a little harder for us. So, we got to create opportunities for ourselves. So that's pretty much what I was doing. I was like, I'm going to find a client. I'm going to find a way, or I'll see maybe a premiere happening or an event happening, and I will manifest like, oh, I'm gonna be at that event. And it really would happen, whether I would be doing security or PR or consultant, I would figure out a way to get to wherever it is. So there's many ways and routes and avenues that you can take. So for me, again, it was very important with having support, like professors, mentors, other, publicists or people in this field. And just surrounding yourself with people that you can talk to or keep you on track, give you insight, give you advice. It's so many ways that you can do this. And again, PR is it's just so many levels and aspects. To me, PR is everywhere. You see it every way. Every day you consume it. Some of you you don't even know, but you see PR, you're impacted by PR. It's all around you. It's very important. They use it in other industries, not just, music and entertainment. And I encourage you, whether you're looking to get in PR or not, just think creatively, think outside the box. If one person tells you no, just use that as motivation to find another way to pretty much break in or, you know, put your foot through the door. So with me,
Yeah,
again,
and I want to piggyback on something that Ty said, because she brought up something very important, right? She said, she would go to work even if she was just there doing security or guest check-in or whatever it is, right? And I tell people all the time, like, I still volunteer now, right? Because a lot of times, if you want to be in a room, be willing to give your time. If you want to give your time, right, then you will have the opportunity to interact, meet with, and also at the same time showcase your abilities to some of the people who you hope will hire you.
Basically, by any means necessary.
So with that, do you take every opportunity that's given to you, or was that something you did when you first started off, and now you're like, okay, I don't need to take all these opportunities anymore. I can do what I want to do.
Okay, I'm gonna give up some real game right here. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So, like the entire world, I'm a Michael Jackson fan, right? And I remember, like, Michael Jackson, a lot of people don't realize this, but Michael Jackson, he was everywhere. I mean, he was everywhere, right? People will tell you, oh, I saw the Jacksons here, I saw this, I saw that. But then there came a time when the world was like going crazy for Michael Jackson. Like crack. Like, how does a person who was super, super accessible, super, super visible make this transition where people are like stalking him? Because Mike went away for a while. And when he came back, he was behind the shades. He was low key. He was talking very, very soft. And it seemed like the softer he talked, the more people tried to listen hard, right? The more mystery he created, the more they stalked him. So no, I don't take everything. I never have. Even if I felt like I could do it, maybe I should do it. But sometimes, you know what? People got to hear you say no.
That's a good one.
If what do we want the most? The thing that's everywhere or the thing that's hard to get?
Hard to get.
I have always had a higher price tag than some of my peers. And I've had peers say to me, how'd you get them to pay that? Because I asked them for it. And I was unwilling to take less. If it meant I didn't get that work, fine. But I have never, the only time I've ever felt that I wasn't getting the value that I deserved was when I knowingly took a volunteer role or knowingly said, I'm going to take less to help you guys out. But it was always clear that I was doing this as a favor to you at this rate. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes in PR, people will come to you, they will have thought about everything. They put in tens of thousands of dollars into everything else, and they want to put pennies into PR. But PR is what's going to move the needle to get you the return on whatever your investment was. Mm. So once I came to understand that, no, you're not going to pay the stylist and the makeup artist more than you're paying me.
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to pass, you're not willing to say, no, I'm good, mm-hmm. then you're not going to ever create the brand, the value that you really want. Because people say, oh, she's going to do it anyway. He going to do it anyway. He's going to do it for whatever I give him. So we just, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And there's a million people out here who needs PR. So if one person says no, I'm sure you'll find 10,000 others who will give you what you want. Ty, did you have anything to add?
I kind of forgot the question, but
I asked if you took every opportunity you had, okay. Or do you, like, from when you started, or do you say no to people now?
So I wouldn't say I take every opportunity, but when you are, maybe a fresh student or a fresh graduate, you might take on a little more, but I would say always protect your peace, follow your intuition. And honestly, with me, I got opportunities volunteering. So I would have people make fun of me like, oh, you're working for free, you're doing this and doing that. But I was building my resume, I was building relationships, learning all these things that you probably would never ever learn. And it eventually led to paying roles or me pretty much building connections with people like, I'm going to get you a paid job. So I think it's a little different for each person. But for now, you know, maybe I don't want to say I'm more older and wiser, but you find your niche or, you know, your passion. So I'm kind of, you know, more into that. Like, if I believe in you, you know, because if not, it's kind of hard to help you and work for you and, you know, be there for you. So I'm definitely more on like passion projects and being a part of things that have morals or, you know, I have the same beliefs. I don't want to work with people, oh, I'm embarrassed, or I don't want to be attached to that brand or whatever that client is doing. So I think it was a little different for me, and I'm still building and developing as a professional myself. So I'm not an expert. I'm not, you know, where I want to be, but, you know, we have to make certain, you know, steps and decisions to get to where we want. And I'm definitely picking my mental peace and health, because some of these people will try to drive you crazy, or just the pressure of, oh, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that. It will get to you. So, you know, you just go at your own pace, find your pace, find your flow, find what works for you. Yep. And go that, you know, go from there.
Yes.
Yeah. And in all fairness too, I started out in entertainment a little older than the average person. So I'd already been in the military. I already had, you know, a little bit of resources that I could lean on that gave me the flexibility to be able to say no and pass on some stuff. And so, you know, and I came in, because I'm older, and I came in when the hip hop culture was emerging and about to start dominating entertainment. And so I came in through music, right? So by the time I actually started in PR, I already had a brand in entertainment. I already knew people, I already had relationships I can lean on. So that gave me a little bit more flexibility, right? You know, what I would tell people is that start now, right? You'd be surprised how many people would take a college student who knows a little bit about journalism and a little bit about PR to help them with their publicity. You know, and you can do everything from, believe it or not, I'm gonna say this to people, you know, especially if you're involved with your church. Your church is probably doing a lot of stuff in the community, with the city, the county, the federal government. You'd be surprised what some of these organizations that you're a part of, right? That what they're involved with and the type of people you can brush up against.
I agree. I just want to, you know, add to that. I have a few friends that are in the chat. One of them, I went to see some with him as well, Brandon Ashford. He's more, you know, into politics and things like that. So there's definitely a need for PR and what we're talking about in all aspects in other industries. Like they have banking, you know, public relations and banking, medical. So again, if maybe entertainment and music is not really your thing, and like Darren is saying, church, like there's other, you know, ways and outlets for you. And I just want to shout out all my friends in the chat. They're showing a lot of love and they're giving a lot of good advice. And I thank you all for being here. Thank you. Hi.
What type of PR do you do? Like, are you crisis? Are you, which kind do you do?
Technically, right now, I'm more of a consultant and I'm working in-house at a network in a studio, because there's different, you know, like we're talking about, there's different aspects and lanes of PR. Some people work, you know, freelance, some people work with an agency, some people are in-house, like there's different, you know, aspects and lanes. So me personally, I am kind of used to more in-house, working with networks and studios, and also I kind of freelance and consulted on my own, again, working with the nonprofits in the community. I've worked with independent artists and independent brands, like hosting parties, different events, whether it's for fun or like community, women empowerment, like, you know, it just kind of depends on what we're focusing on.
Okay. Darren, we saw the long list of people that you
No, I would say I do entertainment publicity, I have an emphasis on talent relations as well as TV and film. And so I've launched several shows. I've launched, I premiered several films. Most recently helped the rollout for BMF, Ghost, Raising Kanan, and Force.
Yes. That's a big deal.
I also just recently produced a really great promo clip for a set visit for P Valley.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So if for any of you P Valley fans that are out there, if you get back about 2 weeks ago, they dropped a little video behind the scenes set visit. That was your boy. Yeah, I produced that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you haven't, please Google P Valley season 2 set visit. It's pretty dope. It's pretty freaking dope.
That's cool. Yeah. I know one of your longtime clients was Vanessa Callaway.
Yes.
Yes, a legend.
Yes. Can you give the students a breakdown of how you've been able to help grow her career?
You know what's so interesting is that in my bio, you'll see the name Patricia Pat Tobin, who was an icon in PR, right? Yeah. And she was the person who convinced me to go back to school and finish my degree. Interestingly enough, she told me, because I was throwing parties, I was doing red carpets. I mean, I'm in my, young 20s, early 30s, and I feel like I got LA by the tail, And she said something to me that I will never forget. I mean, she messed me up. She said, "You can't party forever." I'm like, dang, And so I asked her, I said, well, if I go back to school, because I got a scholarship from the military, shout out to the Army. The Army gave me a scholarship that allowed me to finish my degree. And so, but I was debating whether I should take it or not. I was like, I would have to stop doing what I'm doing. I got this money rolling. I'm at all these places. And that's when she was like, yeah. So I went back to school, got the degree. But within 2 years of me going to work for her, she suddenly died from cancer. And I'll never forget when I was at we were at a post party for the Image Awards. And it was the first major event that we had been at that Pat wasn't alive for. And I'll never forget the conversation with both Vanessa Bell Callaway and Glenn Turman. To their credit, those were the two people who really launched what I would say is DSD Publicity, launched my agency, because they didn't have a publicist anymore and I didn't have a job anymore. And we were talking about what you're going to do. And they said they would sign with me. And I thought they were joking. I'm like, get out of here. Don't do it. But, both of them icons in our business. For those who don't know who Glenn Turman is off the top of your head, if you remember A Different World, he was Colonel Taylor. If you watched any of the Cooley High, he was also in the Avengers. I mean, he got a heck of a resume. He also won the Emmy. Sugar. I was a part of his Emmy campaign. He won the Emmy for In Treatment. Yes, got that on the resume as well, but I digress. And so, but at that time, I don't know if you guys, I mean, obviously you're all film students, so you should be familiar with a few things. If you're not, you should look some of these people up. If I'm saying names of folks and you don't know who they are, you should look them up because they're worth knowing. But this was right around the time when Betty White was having this amazing resurgence. Like this actress who had been, Betty White, for people who don't know, she had been a well-known actress in her 20s before she did designing, before she did all the stuff that we knew in the 80s and 90s, right? She was already a popular actor. Then she had this amazing later career resurgence, right? Where she was just everywhere. Yes. And I said to Vanessa, I was like, it'll be younger for you, but I really feel like your Betty White moment is coming. That you're an icon and that there's going to be a moment where you're going to be everywhere. That moment has been happening for the last few years. But we went about the business of making sure that Vanessa's brand was positioned in such a way to where people beyond just the folks who would know her from Coming to America, right? the folks who may just have known her from when she was one of the first Black actresses to be on a soap opera. So what do? I made sure that she was at everything and everywhere. If there was something worth attending as a red carpet, I got her on that carpet. I made sure that we staged photos on those carpets, meaning she wasn't just there by herself. If Magic Johnson was there, made sure her and Magic, they know each other, got that picture with Magic Johnson, right? I didn't just lean on the network when she was on shows to push out press for her. We push out our own press for her. Anything that she did, we celebrated it. We made sure that we continued to put her forward for media opportunities, and then made sure that different things that were worth speaking on, that she had a voice about, that we included her in that conversation. So when the film Harriet was out, there was a whole conversation about the representation and complexion of women of color and how they're being represented. Well, the New York Post asked the question, we have Vanessa answer it, and then from there she spoke to it. Vanessa is a breast cancer survivor, right? When I started working with her, it wasn't that she had been quiet about her breast cancer, but she hadn't been loud about it. So one of the very first things I did was say, okay, Angelina Jolie came out and said she opted to have both her breasts removed because she knew that was could potentially lead her to have cancer. Well, Vanessa had one breast removed. So when Angelina Jolie's story broke, I immediately pushed out Vanessa's story, so that while Angelina Jolie became the face of mainstream breast cancer awareness, Vanessa became the face of African-American multicultural women breast cancer awareness, which she is right now to this day. I pursued the partnership with Susan G. Komen, Breast Cancer Foundation. And I refused to let them give her anything less than they would any other high profile ambassador. So it's really, for me, Vanessa and we have been partners. We set a goal and we work together to achieve that goal.
It's so awesome.
I'm so inspired, and I want to say I commend you, because I do see her, and I feel like she did make a comeback. Not saying she went anywhere, but I do see what you're saying, and I see what, the work. I see it, and she was killing it on Shameless too. So that's why I'm like, I see her.
No, the Shameless thing.
Stay busy.
but it's something I must say that's important. Vanessa also understood it was important for her to have representation. So many actors don't want to spend the money, right? Yeah. They don't want to pay the price.
Yeah.
She understood the value of having PR, made sure she maintained PR throughout, and as a result, she saw the rewards from it, because PR is a layering effect, right? It stacks on top of itself. So if you do a little bit and stop, you only get here. But if you keep going, what happens is that when you Google yourself, right? Sometimes, not everyone is Googleable. I'm not trying to floss or you know what I mean, or anything like that. But saying that the people who are Googleable, how do those pages and pages and pages and pages come up? They come up from stories on stories on stories on stories. So if you're not pushing out, you're not going to get back, right? If you're not showing up, there's a plenty of time I was like, V, I just need you to hit this carpet. You don't got to stay for the event, but I need you to hit this carpet, right? She come through, hit the carpet, right? Was always on message. Made sure I always gave her the messaging. So she was always on message, right? She always looked the part, period. Looking the part and making sure your client looks the part. There are so many photo spreads that Vanessa ended up in with the main stars from the show because she looked the best. She wasn't the star of the show. She wasn't even on the show. She was just there as a guest, but because she came looking fire, they included her in the photo roundup.
Wow.
I broke an artist like that one time.
Just looking the part is half the battle.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we showed up for the Grammys. She's a recording artist, you know, and she was trying to break into the music industry, right? She had a new little record that was coming out, and she had gotten herself some tickets to the Grammys, right? She had maneuvered and finagled and got herself on the red carpet, right? So I said, listen, you just got to look amazing. She came looking amazing. And so now I will say, because I was kind of a publicist at that time, so I was able to maneuver her around and get her on the photo wall. Those pictures went everywhere.
Yes.
She ended up in a Who Wore It Best with Jennifer Hudson and J-Lo or something like that. The person a total unknown person.
Oh, I think she's
total unknown at that time. Ended up in the photo spread of Who Wore It Best because she was looking that sharp.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that launched her career.
Wow.
So basically being confident and dressing the part, owning it, that's most of this pretty much. You have to be confident and know that you deserve to be here. Or, you know, like he's saying, like you gotta look professional too, you know, you can't just be like showing up looking any type of way, expecting attention or support or, you know, good feedback.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I got to say her name. Shout out to Dollface, Monica Floyd, Dollface. You did that. You already know. We talk about it all the time.
Okay, let me jump into another question because we don't have much time.
Yes.
But I just want to drop all the gems we can because so far it's been very great. Have any of you had the experience of pitching to a group or executives who might not understand specific cultural perspective? If you did, how did you handle it?
I'll let you go first, Ty, because I got a lot of these.
A lot.
I'm trying to think of a good example. There is a lot of times where I am the only person of color. So I'm trying to think of examples where I pitched, because I've pitched and I feel like I didn't get any like weird feedback, but there has been times where even at these big companies, you would think, and they putting out the top shows for people of color, some of them don't look anything like us behind the scenes. So I can't really think of a story where I didn't really, you know, get
more so at the beginning, it's kind of uncomfortable going in and not seeing people who look like you.
Yes.
Definitely.
So that's why I'm like, that does definitely throw you off. And then there is sometimes cultural misconnections or disconnections. So whenever I'm in those, you know, moments, I just keep, you know, I keep calm.
Yeah.
I'm very friendly. And I make sure I make eye contact. I speak to everyone. I treat everyone like the janitor. The janitor. I treat him like the CEO, you know, like I go out of my way to make sure I see people, I acknowledge them. So again, I can't really think of an example where I didn't have the best of luck, but if I was in that situation where they didn't understand me, I would try my best to give examples and speak up for us and be that voice for us, because sometimes we don't have that voice in those rooms or those meetings. And it's crazy. You would think like they putting out the top shows, but again, some of those teams don't reflect us. So again, I can't really think of an example right now, but if I was in that situation, I would just give them examples, personal, or maybe put together a presentation, a pitch. It depends on the situation, so they can understand the importance of this, or you need to do this way, or maybe y'all should listen to me because, you know, I might know what I'm talking about, or at least I'm speaking from experience. So again, I can't really think of an example right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Darren.
Amber, let me tell you. First, I want to say something to everyone here, regardless of what career field you go into. I want you to remember this phrase: speak truth to power. Okay. There was a stretch where I felt like I was fighting the same people over and over and over. So I started out in music in the 90s when they was telling me, oh, hip hop is a passing fad. Hip hop is not going to be around. Right. And that attitude has it permeated through, I would say, almost into the 2010s and 2010s, meaning that there had always been this belief that somehow we was gonna go away. That country music and rock and roll was gonna come back and take over everything, and Happy Days and Roseanne was gonna be the #1 shows all over again. Right? No, I mean, I'm just keeping it real. And so when you ask me, have I pitched all the time? I'm always talking to people who don't get it. Even the ones who have gone to school, who have worked at a network, who've launched a bunch of shows, and they think that they now have some full understanding of the culture. But how can you understand something that's ever evolving and changing if you're not in it? Which means I'm pretty sure you've seen representations of yourself that felt a little dated, right? That even though the show was great, still some of the elements felt a little bit behind where we actually are. Mm-hmm. It's because the people who are in those rooms who think they've learned our culture and now they're ready to present it to us still have to be educated on how much they really don't know. Yeah. I spend all my time talking to non-people from the culture. Because I will say this, there are a lot of non-multicultural people who actually do get it, right? So I'm talking about the ones who don't get it. And the higher up they are, the more senior they are, the more disconnected they are. Yeah. At the end of the day, they're always counting beans. They're counting dollars and cents. It doesn't mean that you can't make the dollars with poor representation, because we know that, right? Mm-hmm. There's a great scene in the movie Malcolm X when Malcolm X first comes home and he's talking to Elijah Muhammad, and Elijah Muhammad puts a glass of water on a clear glass of water, and he says, "We know why people would drink this." And he pours ink into it, and he asks Malcolm, "Why would people drink that?" They don't know no better. They don't have no choice. So when African Americans, Latinos, Asians, Middle Eastern, when people of color are consuming something that's been produced that's not by us, just because we're consuming it in numbers doesn't mean that we actually love it. We don't have much else. And when you're pitching, if you're not able to speak to that, when you're pitching, if you're not able to communicate to the audience that you're pitching to that you know more than them, they're not going to hear you because they inherently think they know more than you. So yeah, I pitch all the time to people who I know. Sometimes I've walked in the room and just been like, yeah, we're gonna do this pitch, but I can look at their faces and know they're not going to get it, and we may have to bring them along. You know, I spent a year and a half talking to eBay, just talking, not actually executing anything, just talking to them to help them understand how to bridge this African-American influencer community lane. But we are in a good place now where people are wanting to hear more, they're receiving more, they're asking more questions. So don't be discouraged. And if you feel as if your pitch was not received because you don't think they get the culture, then what that tells you is your project shouldn't have been there anyway.
Nice. That was really good. Your project shouldn't be everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay. Next question I have for you is, besides internships, what can students do to get their start in PR?
Donate your time.
Donate your time.
Churches, community programs, nonprofits. Donate your time.
I agree.
They always need somebody who can write a good press release. Mm-hmm. You know, they always need somebody who can handle the press on the red carpet for an event. I mean, the Urban League, the NAACP, Boys and Girls, believe it or not, they do some pretty big galas. They do some pretty big red carpets, and some pretty big names show up. So I tell people all the time, donate your time, volunteer. Little secret that everyone should know. Yes. Volunteer for award show publicity. You can work the BET, the MTV, the SAG, the Oscars, the Grammys. You can work all of it. They're not going to pay you a dime, but you get to be there when they're setting up. You get to see how the whole thing's put together. You get to learn and you get to move on the carpet. And then afterwards, you get to party and hang out. Oh, excuse me. You get to network. You get to network. That's what I meant to say. You get to network at an open bar. But my point being that donate your time. Open bar is the devil. I want to make sure you hear me say that to you. So just know that. Be careful. But that's the key. Donate your time. There's too many places that will take free labor.
Yes.
I agree. I would like to just add, I actually earned and found out about my WB publicity internship on social media. So that's something you guys, y'all already on Twitter and Instagram all day. So you might as well, network. And that's something I'm very passionate about. Network. Like every day, meet someone new, meet 5 people new, make a new mentor, use LinkedIn, use Twitter, use Facebook, use whatever. Like y'all gotta, pretty much reach your goal. Like don't let anything stop you. So I just want to share how I got my internship literally from a Facebook group. A lot of people hate Facebook. They don't even use Facebook no more. I still use it though, but there's a lot of networking groups. So I belong to like Sisters of LA. That was a Facebook group. Now we're forming a nonprofit. We're starting our own nonprofit. We have over 1,400 members in a Facebook group. So it's a resources and, we just share insight and things like that. So that's how I learned about my internship. I just wanted to share that with you guys. You never know where your opportunities going to come from. It could be your friend. It could be, someone you have no idea.
And lastly, though, I want to say this because I know we got a lot of millennials and next generations. All of your friends are launching their products and their businesses, and everybody's out here social media hustling. But most of them probably don't have a good press release. They probably need someone to write their bio, right? All these things you still can put in your resume and your portfolio. Like, hey, I did the bio for this. I did the press release for that. You can push out press on your friends. They got a new product coming out. Do a press release and send out their press release for a new product line, right? You don't have to be national press. You can just promote them to the local newspaper as a local business.
I agree.
Local news, because the local news story is going to do a feature on Black History Month. Let's highlight Black businesses. Women's History Month. Let's highlight women in business. We want to highlight young people. And if you out there pitching, they might call you, hey, you reached out to me about your friend who does the cookies and we're doing a thing about local bakeries. We'd like to feature her. Bam. Now you just got your first placement for your friend.
Very true.
Yep. Okay. Another question. What's one realistic piece of advice you wish someone had given to you when you were a student or when you were first starting out?
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
But volunteer for high profile, big stuff. Like just take one day and sign up as a volunteer for everything. And then every so many months, go back and volunteer again until they bring you in as a volunteer.
I want to add, I know this isn't about me, but I want to add, like when you're volunteering, if you're likable, they will continue to call you back. So make sure you're a likable person and you're willing to do anything, help the janitors pick up trash. I honestly believe a lot of my opportunities have came from being a likable person, but I just want to say that too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Show up early.
Yes.
Be willing to stay late. Do a great job. Volunteering leads to internships, leads to jobs, period.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you start networking and meeting people. So by the time you actually get a job, you know some of the press because you've been on red carpets with them. You know some celebrities because you've been on red carpet with them. And then when they see you in another capacity, you know what they say? Hey, that's my girl DM. Hey, that's my girl Ty. Then you go from just being the volunteer to being the homegirl.
Yes.
I agree. For me, I think something I'll say is, I guess you have to have maybe like, thick skin, can't really be too sensitive or emotional. So I think that's something I'm working on. I'm a very emotional and passionate person. I go hard for you and whatever I believe in. So I think that's something I'm working on. And maybe I did have some mentors that told me that, but I'll just share that. Like, yeah, you want to be invested, but you don't want it to drive you crazy or stress you out, have you crying and, panicking and things like that. So I'm definitely working and learning to, channel my emotions, and maybe if this person triggers me, don't let them, don't react or respond. We Nipsey said it best. We got to learn how to react to, disrespect, our responses to disrespect. So I think that's something I'm working on as a professional, just as a woman, a Black woman, because, we're looked at a certain way, we're viewed a certain way. So we can easily, oh, she got an attitude, she this, she that, when it's really not even that. So I don't want to say it's kind of like desensitizing ourselves, but, you just got to stay calm, stay collected, and, just don't take it personal.
Yeah, don't take it personal. Normally,
don't take it personal.
Yes, that was really great. Don't take it personal, because I found myself taking everything personal when someone didn't want to do anything with me. I'm like, what? But I'm like, it's them, not me.
Right.
Okay.
Or they're maybe jealous or insecure, intimidated. It's a lot. And we're younger people coming in, sometime you might get some people like that. Luckily, I haven't had too many incidents like that. My mentors and people I reached out to have been more than open. They might not be so, happy-go-lucky. I appreciate that. I would rather have a blunt mentor, someone that's going to be blunt with me, keep me on track and tell me what I need to hear and not be fake or, sugarcoat anything. Just keep it real with me, and, we could vice versa.
Okay. And then let's start another question. How are you changing the face of PR?
You want to go first, Darian?
I think I've been changing the face of PR just being a Black man in
Period.
PR.
Yes.
Period. You don't see a lot of Black men in PR. And at the same time, certainly who have accomplished the things that I've accomplished as a independent business owner to begin with, right? So for a lot of years, I ran my own agency. I ran my own firm. And I ran it to success, and I have some really great clients. That's very rare. I'm changing the face of PR by the people who I've helped find their place in PR. Right. So I've mentored, I've interned. I mean, I've been a lot of people's first job. Right. I've been a lot of people's reference that got them their first network or studio job. And so my goal has always been to change the face of PR by making sure I bring in people whose faces have not traditionally been seen in PR.
I agree. I do want to commend you for that, because we really don't see a lot of Black men in PR. And I've been told that, like, from just different people. And again, I'm going to mention my friend. He's in the chat, Brandon Ashford. He's a DEI coordinator at College of the Canyons, and he's working with some politicians. And I'm trying to get him connected with Beepers, which is the Black Public Relations Society of LA. So I want to commend you. Like, whenever I see Black men, or, we have to acknowledge each other and show love and support. So that is very true. We don't really see Black men in this industry like that. So thank you, for being here and sharing your insight. And you are definitely a mentor to me. You got me right over the summer. They helped me get a laptop, all type of stuff, you guys. So you just never know. Like, you really have no idea.
Awesome.
Okay, I think we got to wrap up soon.
Okay, yes. I do have a question from the audience. That's from Jaquan. I hope I said it right.
Yes.
Do you recommend us to go to find individual career consultation or membership or mentorship? As a recent graduate, direction is always helpful. So
for me, I literally just mentioned them, and I found them at my internship when I was at Warner Brothers. When I was at Warner Brothers during my internship, I showed up to every event they had. I joined the BRGs, which are like the clubs or business groups at the studio. I was in the African-American one, the Asian one, the gay one, the women's one. I joined all the BRGs. I got to know all those people. Anytime I was there, I asked them for coffee, lunch, whatever, like, I made effort, and then they made effort too. So definitely join organizations like Real to Real, Better You. Black Public Relations Society of LA. There's the Public Relations Society. There's so many organizations, professional organizations and nonprofits, like Darren mentioned, the Urban League. There's so many out there. They'll help you get an internship, help you develop, help you get a job, help you get paid. And you need to be around these people, these mentors. Again, I don't come from the best background, and nobody in my family really made it to high school. So, like it was hard for me trying to go to high school, trying to go to college and try to navigate all these things. So I made it possible, again, with my mentors and joining these professional organizations.
Yeah. I would say, I think Ty has hit on a lot of them. Mentorship, finding a mentor can be hard. It can be very difficult. So I would tell people, I think a lot of times we so busy trying to find and make it on our own that we don't immediately look at the resources that are right around us, right? Starting with, like one of the best mentors I got, ironically, I got because it was my mom's boss. But I was constantly on her about, hey, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? And one time she was like, hey, my boss is having a dinner. Did I want to come? Now, typically we'd be like, nah, I don't want to go. I'm cool on the boss's boring dinner. Right. But I went. Right. And I made sure that I was talking and vocal, and he liked me, and, and he ended up being like a mentor to me and actually led to my very first corporate contract. So I'm saying that you have aunts, uncles, you got family members who coming over all the time at Christmas talking about the war and talking about Obama and talking about the politics. He knows some people. Your uncle that's been going to that lodge meeting that he go to. That lodge is a group of people who will help him. You got aunts that's in sororities. You got that's in fraternities. Those people will help them and help you. So, it's great to look outside and we want to look outside of our family, but I don't know if we always know who's right at our resource in our family, in our peer group, in our friend group. You'd be surprised who grandma rock with. You ain't know that Miss So-and-so was actually the head of the this or that organization. Your church. It's a bunch of people in your church that you don't never talk to. You don't have no idea who they are and what they do. And they move us and they shake us.
So just to quote Players Club, you got to use what you got to get what you want.
You got to take advantage of your advantages.
Yeah.
Yes. But I would say too, don't just ask these people. You have to actually, be genuine, be interested, be invested, and be willing and committed too, Because some people come to me with their hands out and don't even follow up or show up. So, you got to treat people how you want to be treated. Show up, give support, show your face. And, it has to be vice versa and a mutual thing too. Don't, just expect handouts.
No, but I agree with that 100%. And the most important thing to take away from this is that what you said, you got to be genuine, right? If you have genuine interest in someone, if you make it all about you, it's going to show. But if you actually pay attention and, listen to them, right? Especially the older they are, they want to tell you their stories. They want to tell you their stories, right? And spending that time and making yourself also someone who they look forward to seeing.
Yep.
Definitely. So let's end on a fun note. I want you to finish the sentences as well. I'm promoting stories that. You can finish it.
I'm promoting stories that uplift, empower, inform Black life and Black culture.
Okay. Ooh, I like that.
So I'll say I'm pretty much championing for change. So I would like to see more women of color or people of color, more brands of color being recognized and honored, more TV shows that reflect us, more just representation, basically.
Now that brand, that's a good one too.
Another question, or finish the sentence. My motto is.
I got a bunch of them. Don't talk about it, be about it. Stay ready, don't gotta get ready.
Yes.
Don't blink, you'll die in the dark.
Oh. Never heard that one before.
Let me write that one down. I'm just playing.
Hey, now look, that's the first time I ever put this out of the broad social media. So if that become like a little catchphrase, y'all know y'all heard it first. Don't blink, you'll die in the dark. And what that means is pay attention.
I'm like,
right. I'm
Pay
like,
attention.
don't blink.
That's what it means. Pay attention.
Yes.
yes.
So I guess my motto or what I'm passionate about or something I really, really vouch and just talk about all day long, and my really, really close friends will say it, network. Like something I feel like as PR, we got to educate you. We got to enlighten you. We literally have to train you and get your mind right, get you, prep to go speak to these people and present yourself. And it gets deep. So practicing networking, working the room, making connections. I don't want to say if you're shy, it's not for you, but like really, we don't have time to be shy. Closed mouth don't get fed. So, like something I do with some of my friends or colleagues when we're out, we'll challenge each other, get 5 new followers, make 5 new friends, like whatever it is, challenge yourself. But definitely you have to know how to talk. You have to know how to pitch. They have elevator pitch, 10-second, 30-second, 60-second. How are you going to be an artist or this, you got to be able to, what if Beyonce standing in front of you? What you going to say? Like, you got to be ready. So I definitely want to encourage anyone out there. You have to network. We don't have time to be shy, or maybe make a friend that's into the same thing and you guys go and work, go to those events, go to these panels, do what you're doing and go from there.
I got a challenge for you. Go out by yourself.
That's
fun.
That
forces you
yes
to network and talk to other people.
That's very true. And also
go by yourself. Go. Especially if there's something you want to go and nobody want to go with you, go exactly. By yourself.
Because you will miss out. And I had to learn that too. Like, I can't keep missing stuff just because my friends don't want to go. And some people, they're maybe shy or they don't care. They're not passionate. They don't care. They don't want this as bad. So definitely you got to get out your shell and go by yourself. You might make a whole bunch of new friends and new connections, and you just never know. So I agree with that. Don't be scared to go out by yourself. You came into the world by yourself.
Well, this was such a great panel. I really enjoyed hearing
Thank you.
When I first started LA Film School, I actually wanted to go for PR. Then, you go to that school, everything changes your mind. So I'm like, wow, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. But it was so great hearing your perspectives. And I hope, and I know everyone got gems dropped on them.
Yes.
And they know more now. So really, thank you for speaking. But that is all for today. Maybe
thank you.
Thank
you were great.
So much.
Right? Kept us flowing, kept us going. Really appreciate it.
This was very therapeutic for me. And I hope, it was helpful and, resourceful for you guys or everyone in the comments and the chats, everyone tapping in. We had some people sharing LinkedIn links and things like that. So hopefully you guys network and, follow those links that everyone's sharing. And I want to say thank you to LA Film School, because Real to Real has definitely been doing things with them since I feel like since 2015, I've been doing different red carpet events, film festivals, music festivals. I've met so many celebrities and all type of people, helped them, worked with them, did a lot of things at LA Film School. So I am a student of Cal State Northridge, or, a graduate of Cal State Northridge, but
say it with your chest.
Shout out to LA Film School too, for having us and empowering us and partnering with us. So I just want to say, love to everyone out there. This was really a great opportunity and panel, and I feel very inspired, and I hope all of you do too. I shared my LinkedIn in the chat too, if anyone wants to follow up. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so really quickly, for anybody who wants to follow up, my email is DSD. I'm gonna put all this in the chat. DSDPR@me.com.
Hopefully we can do this soon.
Darren Dickerson.
You did a great job, D'Amber.
My IG is DARNDPR.
And
DAREND.
Thank you to Sid and John Nay, the whole Real to
Okay.
Real Better Youth Family, Shonda,
Yes.
Tyler.
I want to make sure I say to everyone who's watching this, okay? If you Google me, you can probably find my phone number. So I'm easy to find. I answer anyone's questions who have questions about stuff like this. If you're a student, especially if you're a student, anybody who hits me up, I will give you information. So now you have absolutely zero excuse or reason to say, I don't have a resource I can go and ask a question. I just put my email and my IG in the chat. This don't happen. Listen what I'm trying to tell you. This don't happen.
Exclusive alert.
It does not happen. So if you don't take advantage of the fact that someone says, hey, you can hit me up a question whenever you want to, that's on you.
Yes. So y'all gotta blow him up.
Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, because you're present tonight, I feel like you should get something. You took the time to be here, so you should get something.
Definitely.
Right? And it's something I can give you. I can give you information.
Definitely. And I had some friends that aren't even into PR, but you know, they're creative. So this is all good information for all of you to know. And again, thank you all. It's Friday. You could be anywhere else, but it's showing, you know, you're here to learn and soak up knowledge. So, you know, your future is bright and anything is possible.
No, somebody said Google me. I didn't mean it like that.
Yes, very, yes.
I wasn't trying to be extra. I was just trying to make a point to all of y'all.
You guys were really big on talking big about Northridge, so I do have to come and speak about LA Film School.
Yes.
They have my heart.
Wait a minute. I don't know if my it went to everybody.
It
So I'm gonna
did.
do this again.
Yes, I think it did. Yes.
No, it went to some people, but I'm putting it in here again for those who didn't get it. My IG. So you got my email and my IG.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you to you guys. Thank you to LA Film School, Better Youth, Real to Real. You guys, thank you for having me. But I guess we're just gonna end this. I actually do not know how to end this. Do any